It is absolutely insane that we are just 5 days away into the Nintendo Switch 2. I mean, it's just a wild time. I mean, personally, I'm actually in the middle of a move to our very first house, which is super exciting, and I'm trying to hurry up and get in before Switch 2 comes out. So I'm actually moving right now, which is weird. This video was actually recorded in advance, so yeah, that's pretty cool technology. But in just 5 days, we'll be holding the brand new Nintendo Switch 2 and also playing the brand new Mario Kart, which we waited so long for, over 11 years. But of course, with another update, we also have tons of news for you guys regarding the Switch 2, including some fun things that the GameStops are actually doing for the launch of the console. So to stay up to date on everything Switch 2 and Mario Kart World when it drops in just 5 days, you're going to want to be here. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, because we are going to be talking everything Switch 2. You're definitely not going to want to miss it. First things first, Nintendo is having a big midnight release with GameStop, like I just mentioned, and not only that, but there will be available units in store and online completely separate from pre-orders. So you're just gonna have to get ready online if you want to do it that way, or get in the line in person. I'd recommend going in person. You can never fail with that. You don't have to worry about websites crashing and all that. Just get there early and get there to just wait. But there's a reason why you can get there early and still enjoy your time, because it seems like almost every GameStop around the world is participating in some sort of big midnight launch festivities. Now, if your GameStop is in a mall, unfortunately, they will not be having any type of midnight release. But on most of the stores, you can actually go up and there'll be a sign that says Nintendo Switch 2 launch event. Join us on June 4th. Be a part of the fun as we celebrate the launch of the highly anticipated Nintendo Switch 2. No pre-order, no problem. Additional consoles will be available for walk-ins. Pre-rings start at 3 p.m. Complete trade-ins, pay in full, and secure your place in line. And it says, want to save money? Don't forget to bring us your trades to put toward the Nintendo Switch 2. And each page will tell you when the plans actually begin for the festivities, like this one says 11 p.m. And apparently every store is doing something different for the most part, as this one states trivia night and food trucks, which is pretty cool. And it says release pickup obviously at 12:01 in the morning. But yeah, this is really cool. Here's some other ones I've seen online. This one has its plans actually beginning at 4 p.m., which is super early, and they're going to have a raffle in Super Smash Ultimate Tournament, which is awesome. And this GameStop shows festivities ending at 11 p.m., and it states it's going to have a Best Nintendo Character Costume Contest. Dress up in the best costume for Switch 2 launch and win a prize. Yahoo! So I haven't went to my local GameStop yet to see exactly what the, festivities are going to be, but it looks like you might want to get there early so that way you can participate in pre-ring, and if you don't know what that means, so pretty much at 3 p.m. you're going to be able to actually pay for your Switch 2 in full and just everything that you needed to buy, everything that you pre-ordered, because I think you probably only put down $50 so far, which I think was, the bare minimum. But then you can actually pay for everything, get your actual place in line where they'll give you a ticket. So that way, when you go back up at midnight, you don't have to go up early and wait in line or anything like that. You'll just show up a couple minutes before midnight, and then when they call your ticket number, you'll go up and grab your Switch 2. So it's probably really best if you can get there somehow at 3 p.m. So that way you can just, immediately pay everything off, get your ticket, and you're good to go. And it's awesome because you're not forced to wait in a super long line again. So clearly, like I said before, GameStop is what's keeping the tradition alive of, new game launches and new console launches. It's just so much fun to have stuff like this. It reminds me of the good old days of waiting for consoles and stuff, of big releases. And honestly, like I said, I will always pre-order stuff from GameStop in person because it's easy, it's fun, and it gives you that classic vibe. So if you pre-order at GameStop, it looks like you're going to have some festivities. I will definitely keep you updated based on what mine is going to be, and maybe even make a little video based on where I'm at and, what festivities we end up doing. In other news, it seems like modding on the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be extremely tough, as some people who've already gotten their hands on Switch 2 have tried to mod their Switch 2s and see what would happen. Bad things happen if you try. So apparently this article comes from Reddit and states some hackers got their hands on Switch 2 and they used a MIG switch in order to try to, actually hack the thing. And now, if you don't know what that means, it's pretty much this little red switch that you see in the profile pic there, and you place it in one of the rails with a Joy-Con in order for it to bypass, something, and, it lets you to hack the switch. I don't know how all that works. I've done it a couple times, but I don't know the whole technical text of all that. But anyways, if you use this little switch jig again, it immediately locks you out the Switch 2, turning it into a brick, and it ends up boot looping, meaning that it pretty much just bricks your console and you can't use it anymore. It'll just go through a cycle of trying to boot up, but it just won't boot up. So it seems like Nintendo is taking extra caution into making sure people don't try to hack Nintendo Switch 2s. So I'm fairly confident that eventually people will find out how to hack the Switch 2, and we'll probably have Smash mods, a couple years down the road, but it looks like it's going to be a while this time. Nintendo put in a bunch of, different parameters and stuff to make this a lot harder this time around. But it's also going to help with game leaking as well. People aren't leaking games early, showing games off like we got with Tears of the Kingdom and like Mario Wonder, and we've seen people streaming on TikTok before the game even came out. So it definitely has some benefits for sure. But don't expect any Smash mods anytime soon. That's going to have to be for just Smash Ultimate for the time being. Now, the other day I mentioned how Nintendo is actually slated to be at Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest, and normally they never are. Almost every other company is, and they have something to show off, but Nintendo normally just skips it. But apparently they are returning this year, and it gets a little bit deeper, because Stealth actually posts the Switch 2 logo isn't included in the Summer Game Fest partner list because third parties are announcing Switch 2 games. Switch games were announced last year without a Switch logo present. Nintendo is involved, could be a Nintendo Direct, ad, or something else entirely. We don't know. Now, pretty much what this is saying is this chart that you're seeing shows that the Nintendo Switch 2 is actually going to be featured in some capacity. It could be an ad or something, but a lot of people kept saying maybe it's just third-party games being announced and also being announced for Switch 2, like they'll just slap a Switch 2 logo at the bottom of the, trailer or something like that. But it seems like it's probably more than that, because this is something that they did last year. There was lots of titles announced that came out to Switch, and there was like first reveals and stuff, and Switch wasn't logoed there. You know what I mean? Nintendo wasn't told to be part of the Summer Game Fest, where now they actually have their logo there and they're pretty much included in some capacity. So for some reason, Switch 2 will be here. We just don't know why. Is it going to be tied to a Nintendo Direct that's going to happen in June? Is it just Switch 2 having an advertisement like a commercial or a bunch of ads or something like that? I don't know, but I really do think it's a sign that Nintendo has got some big plans this summer. But it's not just about that June Nintendo Direct. Nintendo also stated that they would be returning to Gamescom this year, which they only do if they have some really big games to show off. So yeah, a lot of people thinking that Nintendo's about to just open the floodgates once again and reveal a bunch of stuff and show a bunch of trailers for stuff that we do know, trailers for stuff that we don't know, and just have a huge hype train riding this entire year for Switch 2, which I'm already on this hype train for Mario Kart and Donkey Kong. I mean, I can't wait to see what else Nintendo has up their sleeves, and maybe even revealing a big holiday game. Now, something else is it seems like Nintendo is slowly trying to get into the achievements world, which is something that I think a lot of Nintendo fans have been waiting for and asking for. But for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom and their Switch 2 editions, it seems like there'll be lots of play records that you can check, medals that you can earn for doing certain side quests and achievements specific for this app, which gives us more things to do and, more gameplay for these games if you've already 100%ed them. Now, it looks like it might be a little bit of a mix of, new achievements and, basic achievements in the game. For instance, getting all the shrines, clearing all the quests and stuff in your main adventure. So that's stuff that we can expect. It just keeps track for you now via the app, and you can just kind of check through your stuff, which is a really cool addition. And I'm wondering if they're going to include stuff like this in future games. Like if the next 3D Mario is open world, will they have additional quests and achievements that we can complete that coincide with your smartphone app? I think that's a great idea and something that I would actually love, because even when completing achievements on PlayStation and Xbox, it's sometimes a task to try to pull up your achievement page and stuff and track down what you need to do left. If you could just pull up your smartphone and look at your achievements and just play on the Switch as you're scrolling through your smartphone, I think that's like 10 times better than Xbox and PlayStation, honestly. And I'm hoping that more games have this. Like maybe even Mario Kart World will have achievements like that will incentivize people to drive around every corner and nook and cranny of the open world. Because who knows, maybe there's a bunch of achievements for you to find certain things in the open world, or travel a certain distance, or just do stuff that's not part of the main game quest to add even more playtime for us. But let me tell you, the hype is real, man. I am so excited excited for Switch 2 and Mario Kart World, of course. And it just seems like as soon as the console releases, the hype train is just going to really bounce out the gate as soon as we get this June Nintendo Direct, because they're at Summer Game Fest in some capacity, they're at Gamescom in some capacity, we'll probably have another Nintendo Direct around the fall. There's just so many reasons to be excited as a Nintendo fan. The rest of this year and the years to follow are going to be a heck of an exciting time for us Nintendo fans. So let me know in the comments down below how excited you are for Switch 2. Am I helping you to get even more hyped than ever before? I really hope so, because this is the time that we've been waiting for as Nintendo fans. This is the time that really gets us excited and pumped up to be gamers, and man, I just cannot wait. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe before you head out, and like always, I hope you all have a blessed day, and I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.